Welcome to Cliff Notes, the podcast where business meets inspiration and strategy meets balance. I'm Brandon Clifford, CEO of Business Alliance Inc., entrepreneur, investor, and your guide through the world of business, franchising, and leadership. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur, an inspiring franchisee, or just someone looking for actionable advice to take your career to the next level, Cliff Notes is here for you. Join me as we break down the complexities of business and life into bite-sized, actionable insights. This is Cliff Notes, your shortcut to success. Hey everyone, welcome back to Cliff Notes, where we give short, impactful notes to help you grow in business and in life. Our goal on this podcast is to help connect the dots between virtue, leadership, and lasting success in life and in business, especially in franchising. I'm your host, Brandon Clifford, and I want to start today with just a little reflection. We live in a noisy world. All these alerts, messages, meetings, deadlines. But leaders aren't formed in the chaos. They're formed in the quiet, in study, in reflection, and in truth. There's this quote from St. Thomas Aquinas that I come back to often. He says, "The noblest human activity is the contemplation of truth." In other words, feeding the intellect, it's not just a luxury, it's essential, especially if we want to lead others well. One way we can do this is by simply reading, taking time to read each day, right? Books stretch us. They challenge our assumptions. They connect us with minds that are greater than our own. And they remind us that growth isn't accidental, it's intentional. So today's episode, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be sharing 4 books that you might consider picking up this summer. It's summertime, whether you're at the beach, you're in an airport, you're in between travel, events, or on a road trip. These books have impacted me deeply, and I think they'll speak to you as well. So it's going to speak to your head, to your heart, and help you grow as a leader in this life. So let's dive right in. All right, so the first book I'm going to recommend to you all, great book. It's called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. When I read this book, it completely changed my framework. Simon Sinek challenges the way we think about business. He asks a simple question. Are you playing to win or are you playing to endure? The infinite game is a change in your mindset, right? It helps you reframe success, not as beating your competition, but as continually advancing your just cause. Right. So in my line of work in franchising, this really hits home. Our job isn't just to sell units. It's to help people achieve freedom, purpose, and impact. So if you're in it for the long haul, this book is going to really help you lead your company, your organization with vision and resilience. Leaders who embrace the infinite mindset, they build teams that trust, that adapt, and outlast. So highly recommend it. Pick up The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. Get it going. Book number 2. This is an oldie, but a goodie. It's a classic. It's called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. This book is a complete classic, and for good reason. All right, Maxwell, he distills decades of leadership in this book into 21 principles that are practical, powerful, and timeless. I read this book in like my early to mid 20s, and I still quote it today. I quote it at work. I quote it with business partners. I quote it in family life with my children, right? And so whether, it's the law of the lid, the law of influence, the law of process, you're going to find yourself reevaluating the way you lead others and the way you evaluate yourself. It's the perfect book to just read slowly, go through it law by law, bring it into your team meetings, and challenge fellow leaders in your organization or franchisees perhaps to reflect on one law every single week. Great like book club type book. All right. So to summarize this book, you'll realize after reading it that leadership, it's not a position. It's a daily decision to grow, to serve, and to influence with integrity. Speaking of influence, book number 3. One of the all-time greats. It's very old. Many of you maybe have read this. If not, you have to read this book. Anyone in sales or in any sort of leadership position, this is a classic. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Yes, I know it's a very old book. Yeah, I love old books, by the way, side note. And yes, but it's still one of the most important books, one of the most important business books ever written. In it, Carnegie, he displays that he understands really something we often forget in a fast-moving world, that people want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they want to be valued. So this book's going to remind you, and if you read it maybe in your early career, go reread it, because this book's going to remind you that genuine relationships built on trust, empathy, and encouragement, it's still the greatest currency we have in business. So if you're a franchise broker, a franchise executive, or just someone, trying to grow and lead others well, this book really is required reading. So again, even if it's been years, go out and get it again, pick it up this summer, read it. Because at the end of the day, the fastest way to grow your influence is to grow in empathy. And this book will give you instructions on how to do it, right? All right, so number 4, I've pulled out some old books. I'm going to pick out a more current one that I actually just finished reading now. It's called Coached by St. Paul by Father Nathan Cromly. All right, so Father Nathan Cromly is one of my favorite voices out there. Now, I actually had the privilege of meeting him several months ago. But when it comes to integrating faith and leadership, in this book, it's called Coached by St. Paul. He unpacks the wisdom of one of the most dynamic leaders in history, and not just in the church, but in the world. And what I love about this book is how it speaks directly to entrepreneurs, executives, and visionaries who want to lead with purpose, rooted in virtue. Right? So when you read this book, you're going to walk away with both spiritual clarity as well as practical coaching. So if you're trying to lead with love and strengthen in this chaotic world, this book is a must. And it's at the end of the day, you're going to read this book and you're going to realize that St. Paul, he wasn't just a preacher. He was a strategist, right? He was a mentor, and he was a relentless builder of mission-driven communities. Very much like what we're doing here in the business world, right? All right, so there you have it. I have 4 books for you to read this summer. Your summer reading list, it's all done for you. Just go ahead and pick up these books, and you're gonna have a fruitful summer, right? So that's The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek to help you lead with legacy, no, not just for wins. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and Coached by St. Paul by Father Nathan Cromly. All right, so if you pick up one of these books, or all of them, hopefully, I'd love to hear from you and what you thought about the book. Shoot me a DM, message me on LinkedIn, message me in FranLink, and let me know your favorite quote, your favorite takeaway from this book, or put a comment right here on the bottom of this podcast with your favorite quote takeaway as well. And remember, in business, in life, the best leaders are readers, right? Leaders are readers. So until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, stay grateful. That's the note. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Business Alliance Insights. I hope you're walking away with some valuable insights to help grow and strengthen your business. If you're looking to connect with other business leaders, franchisors, franchisees, brokers, or even just looking to explore more tools to scale your business, be sure to get connected to our BAI network and check out FranLink, our exclusive social media platform built solely for our members. You can learn more about it and everything Business Alliance Inc. has to offer by visiting businessallianceinc.com. Again, that's businessallianceinc.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with other business leaders who are ready to take their businesses, their brands to the next level.